Okay, we're recording. Hello, Shelby. I'm super excited to be hanging out with you today. It's an honor to be able to be who I am in your life and to be doing this incredible work so that you can step into your greatness.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be working with you.
You're welcome. So I'm excited to just like sit and chat and ask you a few questions so that other incredible moms and their teen daughters or young women can understand what it's like to work with me and also understand where you were before we started working together and where you are now in your life. All because of how powerfully you have been showing up for yourself. So I'd love to just kind of dive in and if you can talk about where were you before you and I started working together?
Well, I was living in LA. Obviously, I was working a lot. I was working 3 jobs at that time. And I was kind of on the path of my spiritual development, but I wasn't fully there yet. I was kind of like 1 foot in and 1 foot out and not really fully embracing it and embracing my own power. And it was funny because when I started coming to you, you were actually like, I'm not really sure if you need a coach. But
I remember I said that.
you need a coach. And I felt like really excited once I came and saw you because you were just very warm and inviting and welcoming. And I remember we like went over our time limit by like 2 hours, and I was like, wow, like this girl really cares. So after that, I was just like, okay, like maybe I have it together in my life, but I'm not fully together there. So I definitely need a coach, and this is definitely the one I want to start seeing. So.
Amazing, amazing. So, what would you say were like the biggest problems or issues that were going on in your life, like prior to us working together?
I think that I had a lot of power that I didn't know how to use, and I didn't know how to unleash it. And I still had a lot of old patterns that weren't serving me anymore, that kind of were just constantly replaying in my life, and things weren't as harmonious as I would like them to be. So I just had a lot of energy within me that wasn't actually mine, and just kind of things that I had learned over the years that were continuously playing out in my life, and I wasn't really able to stop that. I didn't have the knowledge of how to stop that. So that was definitely one of the biggest issues that I had before coming to you.
Okay, and then so since we've been, and you and I are continuing to work with each other, but how has that changed since we've been doing this work in
Well,
your?
it's changed momentously because I have you just as a support system, and being able to contact you when I have specific moments. I mean, I think that what I value most is when we are, in person, and we are able to kind of dig deep and get to those things that have been really like rooted within me, and we're able to kind of clear that. But obviously there's always going to be moments after that that it still comes up, and that's kind of the gateway to, okay, you're either going to stay in that pattern or you're going to try and fix it. So having you there, being able to just reach out to you and be like, you know what, Brianna, like this is coming up, like I don't know what to do, and having you there to be able to like redirect me, like, no, go this path, because if you weren't there, I would be going on that path. So it's good to just have that support, and have, it's almost like when you're little and you're emotional and you don't really know how to figure it out, and you have a conscious adult that's like, listen, what you're feeling is okay, but this is where you go from there and kind of rationalize it. So it's really nice to have you there just to rationalize these patterns that just replay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you kind of already answered my next question a little bit, but how would you describe in your own words what it's like to work with me?
Grounding and comfortable, in a good way, not in a way that I'm staying in my comfort zone, but in a way that I feel comfortable enough to share deep things with you. And I was talking to my sister about this today too. It's like when you're finding a therapist or you're finding a life coach, you really can't get to the root of your own problems if you're not comfortable and you don't connect with the person that's trying to help you. So you just kind of exude that energy very easily, that you're like, I'm here to help you, and I can only help you to the extent to which you want to help yourself, but I will be here to be the presence to help you get through that. So I think that's what I appreciate most about working with you, is that I always feel comfortable and I feel open and willing to share with you.
Oh, touches my heart. Well, thank you. What do you think has been some of like the biggest shifts, in this work that we've been doing for yourself?
Well, I think that the one huge shift in my mind is just that I am fully able to believe and anchor my personal power. I think especially my spiritual power, which is something that I feel like for my whole entire life I've been lacking. And I, since working with you, really prioritize self-care and self-love a lot more than I did. Um, because I think that a lot of our families kind of don't prioritize that as much. And
Yeah.
something that a lot of families are like, listen, you got to care about yourself, you got to love yourself. It's almost just like the unspoken truth, but nobody actually brings attention to it. So since working with you, I think that's been one of the biggest shifts, is just like really like anchoring in my personal and spiritual power, and also being able to give myself more self-care and self-love.
Amazing, amazing. Do you think that you would have been able to do all of this stuff had you not had someone like me that was coaching you along? Like, where do you think you would have been if you didn't have that like support from me?
Absolutely not. I think that I would have eventually figured all of this out, but it would have taken me years. It would have definitely taken me like so much longer than it would have having someone that had already been through these things and is like, okay, well, this is my path and this is what I did to help. And I think that's another thing that I appreciate about you a lot, is that a lot of teachers, I feel like, try to preach theory and try to preach not necessarily their experience and what they've learned, but they try to preach what they know to be true based on other people's thoughts and other people's opinions. And you're not like that. You're like, listen, this is what I've experienced, and this is the hardships that I've faced, and this is how I got through it. And you have to find your own way. Like, you encourage the person to find the power within themselves to heal, which I feel like is a very important quality in a teacher or a coach or anyone.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and that's amazing. I just like love seeing how far you've come, and like we haven't, been working together that long, so it's like it's really incredible. Um, what would you say? So I know when we first started working together, you were living in LA, so we were doing in-person sessions, and then since then you've moved, to New York. So how would you say, is it any different? I mean, for those that are watching this that are not local, how is it with the whole online experience?
It's not different at all, which I actually really appreciate, because like I felt a very strong presence when we were together and we were in person, but that's obviously just because you have two like physical like beings right there. And I
Yeah.
feel the same amount of presence with you when we're online. Like I feel like you're very devoted, you're very here. And that's another thing I appreciate too, because I think that's very easy, like when you're online, to like go on your phone or to be easily distracted because the person is not physically right there in front of you. But online, it seems to be still a very present experience. But I also feel like it's because we're both very present in the way that like I value this work and you value this work, so it's very nice.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. So what would you say to any teen girl, young woman, that might be considering working with me, or a mom who's watching this who may be considering having her daughter work with me? What would you say to them?
I'm like already so ready to speak. I'm like, tell the world to work with Brianna. No, but I to moms, I would say, do not hesitate signing your daughter up, because if you don't feel like you prioritize self-care in your life and you want to stop that cycle for your daughter and for generations to come, then this is a perfect gateway to do so, because Brianna is a coach that cares so much about this kind of work because she's done the work on herself. So she knows how important it is for young girls to develop in this way. And to young girls, I think that growing up in society we live in right now is very easy to create a skewed perception and a skewed way of life, and just to live in this delusion that you don't have power and that you don't deserve the life that you have the potential of living. And sometimes having a conscious presence tell you that's not the truth. Like, embrace your power and love yourself. Just to hear those words, especially so early on. I mean, if I could have started working with you when I was 15 years old, like I don't even know where I would be at this point in my life. But I feel so grateful to have found you, because just to have a strong woman in my life saying you're on the right track and you're prioritizing the right things is so much more validating for me, because there's so much in this life that I don't know yet, and there's so much that I still need to learn. So young girls, please do not hesitate to sign up, because your life will be drastically altered and changed in the best positive way.
Thank you so much, Shelby. I loved everything that you just said. And thank you for, being the voice for all the moms and teen girls and young women, because, I can talk about how great the coaching is, but to hear it from you, to hear it from one of my clients, is incredible. So any other lasting words that you want to say before we wrap up?
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And again, I think that also, just as a young girl, it's really easy to have doubts, and especially with yourself. But this kind of coaching is priceless. And to have someone that's equally as invested in you as you are is just such a compounding feeling, that you just feel like you can have this power, and living a life that's at your level of potential is possible. And having a coach helps you do that so much more so than you could do by yourself. So I highly recommend signing up with Brianna. She's awesome. You're awesome, because that's why you're here, considering working with Brianna. So be even more awesome and sign up. Just do it.
And Shelby, you are awesome as well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Shelby, for coming on and speaking here. So much love to you, and bye for now.
Bye for now.